Hello and welcome back to the channel, everybody. And today I want to talk about the new Nvidia 30 series cards, what they're going to bring. Should you buy one? Should you wait? Should you wait for AMD to release RDNA 2 in the next few months? And what I'm going to do. So as most of you in this video probably know, I'm sure we've all seen what's happened, what's been released. You know the specs. Nvidia's new 30 series cards are looking good, beautiful. Mwah. They're looking like their performance is nice, big, fat and meaty. And that's just what I like for performance in my graphics cards. And not only that, the price is looking pretty good. The prices of the new units are actually cheaper than the old 20 series versions of the 2070, 80 and 80 Ti, which is now the 3090. The new 3070 actually looks like it has a little bit more performance than what a current 2080 Ti is. So if there was like a 2090, right, which is going to be the 2080 Ti, like the 3070 is faster than that by a little bit, probably. I reckon there's going to be a few games where the 2080 Ti is actually going to be faster, and that's the games where it's really going to max out that 8 gigabytes of VRAM on the 3070. The 11 gigabytes of RAM on the 2080 Ti, I think is still going to be king in a few games. But I don't need to tell you how good the 30 series is currently looking. Obviously, we haven't seen any independent tests as of yet, but I do believe they will be coming very soon. So when the 20 series came out, there was quite a bit of demand and quite a bit of delay actually for at least the first month. And the 20 series cards weren't that much better. And because of everything that's going on in the world right now, I'm thinking there's going to be a worse wait because of that. And on top of that, the demand is also going to be bigger than the 20 series cards. So I reckon there's going to be quite a bit of a wait if you want to get your hands on a 3080, 3070, 3090. I reckon those chips are going to be pretty special to get a hold of. That's it. And currently there's no pre-orders for them either, as I stand right now this particular day. Knowing my luck, that'll change tomorrow and it'll wreck my video once again. But enough of that. I want to talk about what I think is about to happen. I do see some people saying that they don't think AMD can actually compete. And I would tell you that you're probably going to be wrong there. I believe AMD have been holding back for a little while now. Even with RDNA, I believe they were holding back. That's why they only made a 5700 and there was still room to move with the 5800, 5900, etc. But the reason they didn't was because of the driver errors and issues and all the problems that the 5700s had initially, which as an owner of a 5700, I can tell you most of those have actually disappeared now. I did have a few problems initially, but I don't really have an issue with AMD's drivers anymore. The only time I've had an issue is when I'm running triple screens on my sim setup and VR at the same time. When I go to plug in VR as well as running triple screens with Eyefinity enabled, then sometimes the thing will just shut off. But if you don't have Eyefinity enabled, not a problem. I think that's the only issue. But how many people have triple screens with Eyefinity enabled with VR account like attached at the same time. Like not many, I mean a very, very small percent. In saying that, I'm just not running Eyefinity. Therefore cures my problem. And as we saw with the 2070 Super and the 5700 XT type battle, and the 5700 to the 2060 Super, the 5700s do have quite a bit of raw power, and they come in at a little bit better value for money. And I think we'll see similar with RDNA 2 versus the 30 series. And I know what you're probably thinking. You're probably thinking, oh, AMD fanboy, right? And you wouldn't be wrong, I am. As you can kind of see from my background. But, I'm not a particularly biased fanboy. I will happily say when I'm beaten. And in fact, I'm going into this new GPU type launch from AMD and Nvidia with the slight bias actually towards Nvidia, which pains me to say. Not because I think Nvidia has more power or I think will be better value for money. I actually honestly think that AMD will come out with a little bit more power than the 30 series Nvidia cards. And I think they're going to undercut, price-wise, the Nvidia 30 series. So why am I thinking I'm going to be buying an Nvidia 30 series card? Well, let me tell you. It's partially to do with this. So because I'm a YouTuber, I record videos, I stream, I do all the content creation type stuff, I'm leaning towards Nvidia because Nvidia has their dedicated NVENC encoder that is just much better than what AMD has had to offer so far. Obviously, RDNA 2 could be announced in the next few weeks, and they might say, hey, we've got this new encoder called NVENC encoder, I don't know, and it's better than the NVENC. That could change my mind. Now, AMD currently has AMF, I believe it's called, and it's terrible. And I wouldn't even use it. I'd just use X264 to encode on the CPU rather than use that. Nvidia's NVENC encoder is just better. Obviously, you do have the benefits of the ray tracing but I think AMD is working on that, and obviously DLSS and all that sort of stuff. The Nvidia, but I try not to focus too much on that software stuff. More on the raw power, the hardware, etc. And I think raw power and hardware-wise, as a performance, I think AMD is going to be there. Price, I think AMD is going to be there. But where Nvidia, I think, is going to have it is the NVENC encoder for people like me, and probably slightly better drivers, like software. And obviously when the 5700 came out, we saw quite a few issues. Will we have the same thing with RDNA 2? I don't think so, because I don't think the architecture is massively different to going from an older Polaris type to RDNA. So I don't think we're going to have an issue there too much. I reckon there will be issues, but not too much. But even though I'm reasonably sure that I'm going to be buying Nvidia, I'm still going to be waiting out for AMD. Because sometimes AMD can surprise you. You don't know what AMD has up their sleeve. Sometimes there's a lot. It might not look like it, but sometimes they do. And not only that, if you're totally against AMD and you're like, I'm going to buy Nvidia. I don't care what AMD comes out with, I'm going to buy Nvidia. I still probably recommend you to wait out for AMD. And here's why. As we've seen in the past with the recent fights between Nvidia and AMD, Nvidia comes out with something. They're like, oh, it's the best, it's the best. And it is quite good at that particular point in time. And then AMD comes along and they're like, well, we're going to slightly one-up you, which is what I think they're going to do here. And we're going to come in at a cheaper price point, which again is what I think they're going to do here. So in a month or so after the 30 series comes out, when RDNA 2 is probably going to come out, that's what's going to happen. And then you know how Nvidia normally reacts, just like we saw last time? Even with when the 5700s were released and things like that, the 2060 Supers and all that were released, and then they dropped the 2060s. And so I reckon the same thing is going to happen. So AMD will say, hey, we've got the 6700 and the 6800 and potentially the 6900. And then Nvidia, they're going to drop their prices, aren't they? A little bit. As a FU to AMD, like they normally do. And then the people that went out and bought at full price, like a month before, they're going to be done up here. You know what I'm saying? And even if that doesn't happen, you know another thing that Nvidia normally does? They release more GPUs. I think Nvidia's holding back as well. I think the 30, 70, 80 and 90 is just the start. There's no TIs, there's no supers, nothing. It's just 70, 80, 90. And if AMD backs Nvidia into that corner, then Nvidia is even probably going to drop their prices on the 70, 80 and 90 and then come out with a 70, 80 and 90 Super or TI or something that'll have a little bit more performance that'll outdo AMD, all for the probably same price point that you would buy initially at launch of the 70, 80 and 90. And then I think this will probably go on for about 6 months, where Nvidia will release more GPUs and AMD will release more GPUs, and then they'll be fighting it out. The price is going to probably start to go down a little bit here and there, just because of all the competition. I probably don't think that AMD is going to come out with anything that's going to compete properly with the 3090. I could be wrong. So if you're in the market for a 3090, I reckon you could probably be safe buying a 3090 at launch, but I could be wrong. As I said, sometimes sometimes AMD can surprise you. And something I think we've learned quite a bit of recently is we haven't really heard much of a peep at all from AMD. And while some people think that's a bad thing, and that could mean they're running scared, I actually think it's the total opposite. I'm about to be proven right or wrong in the next few months, so we're about to find out. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm wanting to buy one of these next gen GPUs, and I'm just going to be waiting for AMD simply to see what price point, what performance, But it's an interesting thought to think about. Chew on that for a little bit. If you want to go and buy Nvidia at launch, go do it. If you can. I honestly don't think you'll be able to, though. I reckon they're going to be hard to get hold of, but we'll see. But thanks for watching this video, everybody. Hit that like button if you liked it, subscribe for more videos, and I will see you in the next video.